My daughter thought I didn't see the powder. I was sitting at our kitchen table in our Desert Palms apartment, watching Jessica stir my Campbell's chicken noodle soup. She had that fake smile plastered on her face, the same one she used for her Instagram stories, the same one that fooled 50,000 followers into thinking she was some kind of success story. But I saw the white residue on the wooden spoon. I saw her glance toward her bedroom, where that ring light was already set up. And I saw the way she avoided my eyes when she placed the bowl in front of me. "Here you go, Daddy," she said, her voice dripping with that practiced sweetness she used for her videos. "I made it extra special tonight." I just smiled and switched our bowls while she turned to grab her phone. She had no idea I'd been watching her for weeks. Let me tell you something about being invisible. When you're a 48-year-old janitor making $32,000 a year, people look right through you. But when you're that janitor's daughter with 50,000 Instagram followers, suddenly everyone sees you. Jessica had built her entire online empire on a lie. While I worked 60-hour weeks mopping floors at Phoenix General Hospital, she was posting pictures of designer purses that cost more than my monthly rent, $400 bags, $200 dinners at restaurants I'd never even heard of. Her bio read self-made entrepreneur living my best life. Self-made. That was rich. I'd raised her alone since she was 6, after her mother died in that car accident on the I-10. 20 years of double shifts, of choosing between groceries and her school supplies, of wearing the same navy blue Cintas uniform with Marcus Maintenance, stitched on the chest until the letters started peeling off. But Jessica's followers didn't know that. They saw her ring light setup worth $180, her iPhone 14 Pro that cost $1,200, and they thought she'd earned it all herself. The comments on her posts were always the same. Goals. How did you do it? Teach me your secrets. The secret was me. Working nights so she could sleep in. Paying $850 every month for this 2-bedroom apartment in Desert Palms so she'd have a place to film her content. Buying her groceries while she spent her earnings on props for her fake lifestyle. I found the receipts in her room one day when I was fixing her broken closet door. $2,400 in designer clothes over the past 3 months, all purchased while she was posting about being financially independent and giving advice about hustling smart. The worst part wasn't the money she was spending, it was the money she was making. See, Jessica had discovered something that a lot of influencers figure out eventually. Poor sells better than rich. Struggle gets more engagement than success. So she'd started mixing in posts about taking care of my sick father and sacrificing my own needs for family. Her cooking videos were particularly popular. Making soup for my daddy, who worked so hard, had gotten 37,000 views. The comments were heartbreaking. "You're such a good daughter. Your father is so lucky." This made me cry. What they didn't see was me, off camera, actually paying for the ingredients. What they didn't see was Jessica rolling her eyes the moment she stopped recording. What they didn't see was her Venmo account, where concerned followers had been sending money. Small amounts at first, $5 here, $10 there, for your father's medical bills. To help with groceries, $8,200 over 6 months. Not a cent of it had gone toward my medical bills or our groceries. I found the bank statements in her laptop bag. Every deposit was immediately transferred to her personal account. Every dollar donated by people who thought they were helping a struggling family was going straight into Jessica's designer purse fund. But what hurt most wasn't the money. It was sitting in this apartment every evening, invisible in my own home, while my daughter performed caring for me like it was just another form of content. She'd set up her camera, arrange the lighting just right, and then call out, "Daddy, dinner's ready," in that sing-song voice that was nothing like how she actually talked to me. The moment she hit stop recording, the performance ended. She'd go back to her phone, scrolling through comments, counting likes, calculating engagement rates. "Nobody follows Janitor's dad," she told me once when I asked about her posts. "They follow success stories. They follow people who figured it out." Figured what out? How to lie. How to exploit people's kindness. How to turn your own father into a prop for internet sympathy? Her latest posts had been getting darker, more desperate. The donation amounts were slowing down, so she was escalating the story. Last week's video was titled, "Scared to Ask for Help," and showed her crying real tears while talking about how overwhelming it was to be a caregiver. The comments section exploded. "You're an angel. He's so lucky to have you. I wish I could help more." And they did help more. The Venmo notifications kept coming. $20 from @SarahMom2, $50 from at Robert Cares, $100 from at Kindness Matters, with a note that said, "For your father's medicines." I wanted to comment on every single donation. I wanted to tell Sarah and Robert and everyone else that their money wasn't going to medicines. It was going to Jessica's fake lifestyle. It was funding her lie. But I didn't comment. I didn't confront her. I just watched and waited and collected evidence. Because here's what Jessica didn't understand about being invisible. Invisible people see everything. We hear everything. And eventually we remember everything. What hurt most wasn't the money she was stealing from strangers. It wasn't even the way she was using me as a prop. What hurt most was that she thought I was too stupid to notice. She'd gotten careless over the past few weeks, leaving her laptop open, not clearing her browser history, forgetting to lock her phone when she left it on the kitchen counter. That's how I found out about the powder in my soup. That's how I learned about her real plan. But what she didn't know was that I'd been taking pictures of everything. Screenshots of her bank account, photos of her purchase history, videos of her counting donation money while laughing about her poor sick daddy. Because if there's one thing 20 years of raising a child alone teaches you, it's patience. And if there's one thing 20 years of being invisible teaches you, it's how to gather evidence without anyone noticing. Jessica thought she had everyone fooled, but you can't con a con artist's father forever. The phone call that changed everything happened at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. I was lying in my bed staring at the ceiling when I heard Jessica talking to someone in the next room. Her voice was different, not the fake sweet tone she used for videos, but not her normal voice either. It was excited, conspiratorial. "No, listen, Brittany, this is going to work perfectly," she whispered. "But apartment walls are thin when you're trying to be quiet at 3 in the morning. I got up and pressed my ear to the wall. "The abuse angle is pure gold. I've been testing it with smaller posts, and the engagement is insane. People eat this shit up." Abuse angle. My blood went cold. I know, it sounds bad, but hear me out. Old people are trending right now. Elder abuse awareness, all that stuff. If I position myself as the brave daughter, speaking out against her abusive father, I could easily hit 50,000 in donations. Maybe more. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. "Brittany, I'm not talking about real abuse, obviously. Just, you know how to work the algorithm. Scared daughter, brave survivor, asking for help to escape. The story writes itself." There was a pause while she listened to whoever Brittany was. "Yes, I already have some content planned. I've been giving him these herbal sleep aids and his soup totally harmless. Just makes him drowsy so I can film him looking confused and disoriented. It's perfect because he already looks old and tired from work anyway. Sleep aids, not powder, sleep aids. The beauty is that nobody's going to fact-check a domestic abuse story, right? It's too sensitive. People just donate and share and show support. I've already got the script written." I heard her moving around, probably looking for something. "Okay, let me read you what I've got so far. I never thought I'd have the courage to post this, but I can't stay silent anymore. For years, my father has been..." And then I list all the fake stuff. Emotional abuse, financial control, threatening behavior, classic patterns that people recognize. She was reading from notes, actual written notes about fake abuse. The genius part is the medical angle. I can say he's been putting things in my food to make me compliant. Ironic, right, since I'm the one doing it to him? But it flips the script perfectly. Suddenly, I'm the victim who's been drugged and controlled, and he's the dangerous old man who needs to be stopped. My hands were shaking. My own daughter was planning to destroy my life for Instagram money. I already picked out the perfect outfit for the crying video, something plain and scared-looking, maybe a little torn at the shoulder to suggest a struggle. And I practiced the scared voice. Want to hear it? There was another pause. Then Jessica's voice changed completely. Became small and trembling and terrified. "Please, if anyone can help me, I don't know how much longer I can stay here. I'm afraid of what he might do if he finds out I'm posting this. But I can't keep living in fear." Then her normal voice came back, bright and pleased with herself. "Good, right? I've been practicing in the mirror for weeks. The key is to look directly into the camera, but not quite make eye contact. Makes it seem like you're too traumatized to connect, but brave enough to speak out. I wanted to burst through that wall and confront her right there, but something stopped me. Maybe it was 20 years of watching her lie to teachers, to neighbors, to anyone who would listen. Maybe it was the realization that this wasn't just teenage rebellion anymore. This was calculated destruction of another person's life for profit. The timeline is perfect too. I'm going to post the first video this Friday during peak hours, then follow up with a GoFundMe by Saturday. I figure if I can get it shared enough, trending on TikTok maybe, I could raise $50,000 easy. Maybe more if it really takes off. $50,000 for destroying her father. And here's the best part. Even if someone tried to investigate, what are they going to find? A tired old janitor who works night shifts and comes home exhausted. A daughter who's been posting about taking care of him for months. All the evidence supports the narrative I've been building. She was right. She'd been setting this up for months, without me realizing it. Every caring daughter post, every worried about daddy video, every fake concern about my health. It was all preparation for this moment. Brittany, people want to believe in good victims and clear villains. I'm young, pretty, articulate. He's old, tired, works a job that people look down on. Who do you think they were going to believe? I heard her laughing. Actually laughing about ruining my life. The only tricky part is making sure he doesn't see it coming. If he gets suspicious and starts defending himself before I can control the narrative, it could backfire. But I've got that covered too. She lowered her voice even more. I'm going to increase the dose in his soup tomorrow night. Make sure he's really out of it. Then I'll film the big reveal while he's unconscious in the background. Perfect evidence of how the drugs he's been giving me have affected his mental state. Perfect evidence. She was going to drug me unconscious and film me as proof that I was the one drugging her. By the time he wakes up, the video will have thousands of views and the donations will be pouring in. Even if he tries to deny it, the internet will have already made up its mind. The call ended a few minutes later, but I stayed pressed against that wall until sunrise, listening to her practice her victim voice and plan my destruction. That's when I knew I had to act. This wasn't about money anymore. This wasn't even about lies. This was about survival. Because Jessica was right about one thing. People want to believe in clear villains. And she was betting that when the story came out, I'd be the one they chose to hate. But she made one crucial mistake in her planning. She assumed I'd stay unconscious long enough for her lies to become truth. What she didn't know was that I'd stopped eating her soup 3 days ago. Thursday morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. I sat at our kitchen table with Jessica's laptop open in front of me. She'd forgotten to close it again after her late-night planning session. The screen showed her Google Docs file titled Escape Plan, Private. 23 pages of detailed notes about how to destroy my life and profit from it. The document was methodical. Professional even. She'd researched everything. Optimal posting times for maximum engagement, hashtags that would make abuse content go viral, even psychological techniques for appearing credible in victim testimonials. Page 12 had a section called Evidence Creation. Screenshots of fake text messages she'd created using online generators, messages that showed Marcus Rivera threatening her, controlling her money, telling her she was worthless, messages that never existed but looked completely real. Page 15 was titled Medical Documentation. She'd researched symptoms of various drugs, planning to claim I'd been slipping her different substances over time. Rohypnol to make her compliant, anxiety medication to keep her dependent, sleep aids to control her schedule. The irony was staggering. Page 18 broke down the financial projections. Conservative estimate, $50,000 in the first week if the story gained moderate traction. Optimistic scenario, $120,000 if it went viral on multiple platforms. She'd even calculated taxes and platform fees. But page 21 made me close the laptop and walk away. It was titled Long-Term Strategy and outlined her plan for after the money stopped flowing. Book deals about surviving parental abuse, speaking engagements at domestic violence awareness events, maybe even a Netflix documentary if the story got big enough. She wasn't just planning to destroy me. She was planning to build an entire career on my destruction. I had 48 hours before her Friday evening live stream. 48 hours to decide whether to run, hide, or fight back. Running wasn't an option. Where would I go? I had $800 in savings and a job that barely covered rent. More importantly, running would look like guilt. It would confirm every lie she was about to tell. Hiding wasn't an option either. The internet doesn't forget, and Jessica's plan was designed to follow me anywhere I went. Future employers would Google my name and find stories about elder abuse. Neighbors would whisper. I'd become that guy, the one everyone assumed was guilty, because the accusations were so detailed and public. That left fighting back. But how do you fight someone who spent months building a lie so elaborate that it had its own documentation? Someone who'd researched psychology and marketing and social media algorithms to craft the perfect victim narrative. The answer came to me while I was staring at Jessica's Venmo transaction history. $8,200 from strangers who thought they were helping. People with usernames like @SingleMomStruggling and @VeteranDad and @Grandma Jones. Real people with real hearts who'd been manipulated into funding my daughter's designer lifestyle. These weren't faceless corporations or wealthy investors. These were working people like me, probably choosing between donating $20 to help a struggling family or buying groceries for their own kids. They'd chosen kindness, and Jessica had chosen to exploit that kindness. That's when I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about protecting every person who'd ever donated money online believing they were helping someone in need. This was about every real victim of abuse whose credibility would be damaged by fake stories like Jessica's. I opened my phone and started taking pictures, screenshots of her fake evidence, photos of her long-term strategy document, pictures of her purchase history showing where the donation money really went. Then I did something I'd never done in 20 years of parenting. I went through Jessica's things systematically and without permission. In her dresser drawer, I found printouts of her bank statements with donation amounts highlighted in yellow. She'd been tracking her earnings like a business. In her closet, I found shopping bags with tags still attached, a $400 purse she'd posted about buying with her savings, 3 designer dresses totaling $800 that she'd worn in videos about staying positive despite financial stress. Under her bed, I found a notebook filled with practice scripts, different versions of her abuse story, with notes in the margins about which details got the most emotional responses in test posts. But the worst discovery was in her phone's photo gallery. She'd been taking pictures of me for weeks without my knowledge. Me looking tired after work, me falling asleep in my chair watching TV, me looking confused when she asked unexpected questions while I was exhausted. The photos were time-stamped and organized in an album titled Evidence Folder. Each image had been edited to make me look more disheveled, more threatening, more unstable than I actually was. She'd been building a case against me for months, documenting my worst moments and ignoring every good one. That's when I made my decision. Jessica wanted to play the victim? Fine. But she'd forgotten something crucial about victims and abusers. The truth always comes out eventually, and when it does, the person who's been lying has a lot more to lose than the person who's been telling the truth. I had 47 hours to prepare my own evidence, 47 hours to build my own case. But unlike Jessica, I wouldn't need to lie. Friday afternoon, I set my trap. Jessica had been nervous all day, checking her phone constantly and adjusting her ring light setup. Her big live stream was scheduled for 8 p.m. prime time for maximum audience engagement, according to her research notes. "Daddy, I'm making your favorite soup tonight," she announced around 5:30, her voice carrying that familiar fake sweetness. I looked up from my spot on the couch where I'd been pretending to watch TV while actually recording everything on my phone. "That's nice, honey." She busied herself in the kitchen, and I could hear her opening cabinets, running water, the familiar sounds of soup preparation. But I also heard something else, the soft rustle of a small paper packet being opened. My phone was propped against a book on the coffee table, camera pointed toward the kitchen. The video quality wasn't perfect, but it was good enough to see Jessica clearly as she stirred something white and powdery into the pot. She'd increased the dose, just like she'd told Brittany she would. "Dinner's ready," she called out, carrying 2 bowls to our small dining table. The larger bowl, my usual spot, had been placed in front of my chair. I made a show of checking my phone. "Oh, work's calling." Give me just a minute. Dad, the soup will get cold, Jessica said, and for the first time I heard genuine irritation break through her performance. Just 1 minute, honey. You know how Mr. Peterson gets when maintenance doesn't answer. I stepped into the hallway, pretending to take a call while actually watching through the doorway. Jessica sat down at the table and immediately pulled out her phone, probably checking her viewer count for the live stream she'd scheduled to start in 2 hours. This was my moment. I walked back into the dining room, still pretending to be on the phone. Sorry about that, I said loudly, then made a big show of sitting down in Jessica's chair, the one with the smaller bowl. She looked up from her phone, confused. Dad, you're in my... What? Oh, sorry, force of habit, I said, already picking up the spoon. This one's fine. I watched her face carefully as she realized what had happened. The larger bowl, the one with the extra drugs, was now in front of her. The smaller bowl, the one that was supposed to be hers, was in front of me. Actually, I usually sit there, she said, starting to stand up. It's fine, honey. We're just eating soup, not hosting a state dinner. I took a big spoonful from my bowl, the safe one, and made appreciative noises. This is delicious. Try yours. Jessica stared at her bowl like it was a snake. I'm not really hungry right now. Come on, you made such a big deal about cooking tonight. At least try it. I kept eating, making sure to finish most of my bowl while she sat frozen, staring at hers. Is something wrong with it? I asked innocently. It tastes fine to me. No, I just ate a big lunch. Jessica, you haven't eaten lunch at home in months. You're always out with friends or filming content somewhere. She picked up her spoon reluctantly. I think I'm coming down with something. Maybe I shouldn't eat in case it's contagious. Honey, it's just soup. Your grandmother's recipe, right? The one you always post about? I watched her face as she realized she was trapped. If she refused to eat, I might get suspicious. But if she ate, she'd be consuming the drugs meant for me. She took a tiny spoonful, barely wetting her lips. That's not eating. That's tasting. Are you feeling okay? You look pale. Jessica took another small spoonful, then another. I could see her calculating in her head how much could she eat without affecting herself. How little could she get away with? But she'd been planning for my body weight, not hers. She was 120 pounds to my 180. The same dose that was meant to make me drowsy would hit her much harder. I'm going to get some crackers, she said, standing up quickly. Too quickly. She had to grab the back of her chair to steady herself. Whoa, careful there. Are you sure you're not getting sick? I'm fine, just stood up too fast. But she wasn't fine. I could see it in the way she blinked slowly, in the way she had to concentrate on walking to the kitchen cabinet. Maybe you should lie down for a bit, I suggested. Rest up before your... What did you have planned tonight? Something with your friends? No, I have a live stream. Important live stream. Can't miss it. Her words were starting to slur slightly. What kind of live stream? Maybe I could help. Jessica turned to look at me, and I could see the panic starting to set in. She was realizing what was happening, but there was nothing she could do about it. The drugs were already in her system. Just beauty stuff. You wouldn't understand. She tried to walk back to the table, but stumbled slightly. I jumped up to steady her. Honey, you need to sit down. You're not looking good. I'm fine. Just need some coffee. But even as she said it, her eyes were getting heavy. She leaned against the kitchen counter, trying to fight off the effects of her own medicine. Jessica, what did you put in that soup? Nothing. I don't know what you're... She was fading fast. The sleep aids she'd chosen were powerful, designed to knock out someone much larger than herself. Did you put something in my food, Jessica? Dad, I need to... Her knees buckled. I caught her before she could fall and helped her to the couch. Rest now, honey. We'll figure this out when you wake up. Jessica tried to say something else, but the words wouldn't come. Her phone was still in her hand, the screen showing her live stream setup page. 8 p.m. 50,000 expected viewers. It was 7:15. I gently took the phone from her hand and looked at the screen. Her whole plan was right there, the title she'd chosen, the emotional thumbnail she'd created, the description promising, "The truth I've been too scared to share." 50,000 people were about to log on expecting to see a brave young woman expose her abusive father. Instead, they were going to get something else entirely. I opened her livestream app and started setting up. After all, Jessica had taught me everything I needed to know about creating compelling content. 7:20 p.m. Jessica was unconscious on the couch, her breathing deep and regular. I had 40 minutes before her scheduled live stream. I sat in her desk chair, surrounded by the evidence of her deception. Ring light positioned perfectly, camera angled for optimal framing, script notes scattered across her desk with phrases like, "Speak slowly for impact," and "Pause for tears." Her phone buzzed constantly, notifications from followers asking if she was okay, if the stream was still happening. Comments on her earlier posts, "Can't wait for tonight. You're so brave for sharing. We're here for you." 53,000 people were waiting to watch my destruction. I picked up her phone and opened the livestream app. The title was already set. Why I've Been Silent, The Truth About My Father. The thumbnail showed Jessica looking scared and vulnerable, with text overlay reading, "Finally ready to speak." The description made my stomach turn. Tonight I'm sharing something I never thought I'd have the courage to say. For too long I've protected someone who doesn't deserve protection, but I can't stay silent anymore. This is my truth. My truth. She was planning to steal my truth and replace it with profitable lies. I looked at Jessica's unconscious form. She'd positioned herself as the perfect victim, young, articulate, sympathetic. I was the perfect villain, old, tired, working a job that society barely acknowledged. But she'd made one crucial miscalculation. I opened her laptop and pulled up all the evidence I'd been gathering. Bank statements showing where the donation money really went, screenshots of her fake text message generators, photos of her practice sessions for crying on camera. Then I did something Jessica never expected. I started reading the comments from her previous posts, really reading them. At Single Mom Maria. "Your story gives me hope. I donated what I could." At Robert Veteran. "Reminded me of my own daughter. Sent $50 for groceries." At Grandma. Ellen. "Been following your journey. You're in my prayers." These weren't faceless internet users. These were real people with real stories, real struggles, real hearts. Maria was a single mom who'd donated money she probably needed for her own groceries. Robert was a veteran who saw something in Jessica's fake story that reminded him of his own family. Ellen was someone's grandmother, probably on a fixed income, sending prayers and probably money to a complete stranger. They deserved to know the truth. I checked the time, 7:30. Jessica stirred slightly on the couch, mumbling something incoherent. The sleep aids were strong, but they weren't permanent. She'd probably wake up in a few hours feeling groggy and confused. By then, it would be too late for damage control. I opened her livestream app and looked at the waiting room. Already 2,000 people had joined early, chatting excitedly about what Jessica might reveal. The comments were flowing fast. "Jessica, you've got this. We believe you. Take your time. We're here. Whatever it is, you're not alone." Their support was genuine. Their kindness was real. And Jessica was about to weaponize all of it against her own father. I thought about what would happen if I just walked away. Let her sleep through the live stream. Let her wake up tomorrow and reschedule. Give her a chance to back down, to choose differently. But I knew she wouldn't choose differently. She'd double down. She'd find a way to blame the missed stream on me, probably say I'd discovered her plan and threatened her into silence. It would just become more evidence for her narrative. The viewer count hit 5,000, then 10,000, then 15,000. These people were logging on to support someone they believed was brave enough to speak her truth about abuse. They were prepared to offer emotional support, financial help, and social amplification to someone they thought needed protection. They deserved to know who they were really supporting. At 7:45, I made my decision. I positioned myself in Jessica's chair, adjusted the ring light, and looked directly into the camera. Behind me, Jessica lay unconscious on the couch, visible in the frame but clearly out of it. The viewer count hit 30,000, then 40, then 50. I took a deep breath and clicked Go Live. "Hello, everyone. I'm Marcus Rivera, and I think we need to talk." The chat exploded immediately. "Who is this? Where's Jessica? Is this her dad? Something's wrong." I watched the viewer count spike to 60,000 as word spread that something unexpected was happening on Jessica's channel. The comments were flying too fast to read individually, but the tone was clear: confusion, concern, and growing alarm. "I know you're all here to support my daughter Jessica. I said, keeping my voice calm and steady. "And I appreciate that you care about her. But before she tells you her story, I think you deserve to hear mine." The viewer count hit 70,000, then 80. "Call the police!" Someone typed in all caps. "He looks dangerous." "Jessica, if you can see this, we're calling for help. Someone find her address." I could see exactly what Jessica had predicted would happen. I was a 50-something janitor interrupting a young woman's live stream. In their minds, I was already the villain. "My name is Marcus Rivera. I work nights as a janitor at Phoenix General Hospital. I make $32,000 a year, and I've been raising Jessica alone since she was 6 years old." More comments flooded in. "Why is he talking? This is scary. Someone needs to check on Jessica." But then I noticed other comments starting to appear. "Wait, let him talk. Something seems off about this whole situation. Why is she unconscious?" I leaned forward slightly, making sure my face was clearly visible in the camera. "Jessica told you she's been taking care of her sick father. She's shown you videos of her cooking for me, worrying about my health, sacrificing her own needs for mine. Tonight, she was planning to tell you that I've been abusing her." The comment section went wild. "What? No way! Jessica would never lie. He's trying to control the narrative." But mixed in with the disbelief, I saw other reactions. "This explains why she always seemed off." I wondered about some of her stories. Why would he go live on her account if he was guilty? "For 8 months, you've been sending Jessica money," I continued. "Small amounts. $5 here, $20 there. Money for groceries. Money for my medical bills. Money to help a struggling family." I held up a printed bank statement. "This shows $8,200 in donations from people like you. Good people. Generous people. People who wanted to help." The viewer count reached 90,000. The story was spreading beyond Jessica's followers now, shared across platforms as people tried to figure out what was happening. None of that money went to groceries. None of it went to medical bills. It went here. I held up Jessica's purchase receipts. $400 purses, $200 dinners, designer clothes. The money you donated to help a struggling family funded a fake lifestyle. Comments started changing. "Show us proof. This could be fake too. Why should we believe you?" "I have screenshots of her Venmo account," I said, opening Jessica's laptop. "I have photos of her practice sessions where she rehearsed, crying for the camera. I have her written plans for tonight's stream, including the fake evidence she created to make you believe I was dangerous." Behind me, Jessica stirred slightly, but didn't wake up. "Wait, why isn't she responding to any of this? She looks drugged." "Did he drug her?" "Actually, that's exactly what happened," I said calmly. "But not the way you think. Jessica has been putting sleep aids in my soup for weeks, trying to make me appear confused and disoriented for her videos. Tonight, she increased the dose because she wanted me unconscious during this stream." I paused, letting that sink in. "But I switched our bowls. She drugged herself with her own medicine." The comments shifted dramatically. "Oh my God! She was drugging him? This is insane! Plot twist." "I'm going to show you everything," I said. "Every fake text message she created, every purchase made with your donations, every lie she was planning to tell you tonight, because you deserve to know the truth about where your kindness went." The viewer count hit 100,000. But first, I want to read you something Jessica wrote about all of you. I opened her strategy document and found the section I'd been looking for. These people are so easy to manipulate. They want to feel good about themselves, so they donate to causes that make them feel righteous. The key is making them feel like heroes for helping me. Once they're emotionally invested, they'll defend me even against evidence. The chat went silent for a moment, then exploded with outrage. "She wrote that about us? We were trying to help her. She called us easy to manipulate. This is disgusting." 120,000 viewers. The story was going viral in real time. "Now," I said, "let me show you exactly how she was planning to destroy her father for content." 130,000 viewers watched as I opened Jessica's evidence creation folder. "This document is titled Long-Term Strategy," I said, sharing her screen with the audience. Page 18 shows her financial projections. Conservative estimate, $50,000 from tonight's abuse story. Optimistic scenario, 120,000 if it goes viral. The chat was moving so fast it was just a blur of outrage. She had a business plan? This is sick. She was going to make 120K off fake abuse? How is this real? I scrolled to page 12. Here's how she planned to create evidence against me. Screenshots of fake text messages. Look at these. I displayed the fabricated conversations she'd created using online generators. Messages that showed Marcus Rivera sending threatening texts. You better not tell anyone about this. Nobody will believe you anyway. You know what happens when you disobey me? These messages don't exist in either of our phones, I said. She created them using a fake text generator website. The timestamps show conversations that supposedly happened while I was at work, documented by my hospital security badge logs. More evidence appeared on screen. Timestamp, March 15th, 11:47 p.m. Stop crying or I'll give you something to really cry about. My work record, March 15th, 11:30 p.m., 7:30 a.m. Shift at Phoenix General Hospital. Notice anything? I asked. She has me sending threatening messages at 11:47 p.m. on March 15th, but hospital security logs show I was on duty from 11:30 that night until 7:30 the next morning. I was mopping floors in the cardiac wing when I supposedly sent these threats. The viewer count hit 150,000. Let's look at the financial evidence. I opened Jessica's bank statements, highlighting each Venmo deposit in yellow. March 3rd. Concerned mom sent $25 for daddy's medicines. Same day, Jessica spent $28 at Starbucks and $37 on a manicure. March 10th, at Veteran Bob sent $50 for grocery help. Same day, Jessica bought a $140 top from Urban Outfitters. March 18th, at Grandpa Charlie sent $15 with a note saying, for the electric bill. Same day, Jessica spent $89 on sushi and posted it on her Instagram story. I kept scrolling through months of evidence. At Single Mom Lisa sent her last $20 on April 2nd, writing, I know what it's like to struggle. Jessica spent it on a $40 eyebrow appointment and used the remaining money for overpriced coffee. The comments were pure rage now. I'm at Single Mom. Lisa, I skipped lunch that day to send that money. At Veteran Bob here. I'm on disability. That $50 was my grocery money. She spent our donations on luxuries. This is fraud. Next, let me show you her practice videos. I opened Jessica's hidden photo album titled Rehearsal Footage. The first video showed her in front of her ring light, practicing different ways to look scared. Take one, Jessica's voice said from the speakers. She tried looking directly at the camera with wide, frightened eyes. No, too obvious. Take two. She looked down, then up, letting her eyes fill with tears. Better, but the lighting needs work. Take three. Perfect frightened expression, voice trembling just right. That's the one. Save that performance for the real stream. The audience was horrified. She practiced being a victim? This is psychopath behavior. How long was she planning this? According to her notes, 6 months, I answered. She's been building this narrative since October. Every worried about daddy post, every caregiver life is hard story, every request for donations. It was all preparation for tonight. I displayed her content calendar, showing posts scheduled weeks in advance. November 12th, post about daddy looking tired. December 1st, story about him being forgetful. January 15th, video about sacrificing my social life to care for him. Each post had engagement analytics written in the margins. Good sympathy response. Donations increased 20%. Need more medical concern angle. She tracked your emotional responses like a marketing campaign. Behind me, Jessica stirred again, mumbling something incoherent. The sleep aids were wearing off, but slowly. Now for the most disturbing part, I said. Her plan for after tonight. I opened the long-term strategy document to page 21. Phase 2, book deal about surviving parental abuse. Estimated earnings, $200,000 advance. Phase 3, speaking circuit at domestic violence conferences. Rate, $5,000 per appearance. Phase 4, Netflix documentary possibility. Projected value, $500,000 to $2 million. The viewer count reached 180,000. She was going to build an entire career on destroying me, speaking at conferences about surviving abuse that never happened, writing books about trauma she invented, making millions off a lie. But here's what she didn't count on. I held up my work badge, my tax returns, my medical records. The truth leaves evidence, real evidence, And lies, no matter how well planned, always fall apart when you examine them closely. Now I'm going to show you exactly how tonight was supposed to go. 200,000 viewers. The number kept climbing as the story spread across social media platforms. I could see tweets being posted in real time. Holy shit, this influencer was about to destroy her dad for money. Watching the most insane live stream ever. This girl is pure evil. Here's Jessica's script for tonight, I said, opening her final document. Word for word, what she was planning to tell you. I began reading in Jessica's practiced victim voice. I never thought I'd have the courage to share this, but I can't stay silent anymore. For years, my father has been controlling every aspect of my life through fear, intimidation, and worse. The chat erupted. She was going to say that? Read more. This is insane, I continued. He monitors my phone, controls my money, and when I try to resist, he puts things in my food to keep me compliant. Tonight, before this stream, he tried to drug my soup again, but I pretended to drink it and recorded him admitting what he's been doing. She was going to claim I confessed on camera, I said, except the only confession we have is hers, planning this entire fraud with her friend Brittany at 2:47 a.m. last Tuesday. I played the audio recording I'd made of her phone call. Jessica's voice filled the stream. The abuse angle is pure gold. If I position myself as the brave daughter speaking out against her abusive father, I could easily hit 50,000 in donations. 220,000 viewers. The chat was moving too fast to read. Behind me, Jessica began to stir more actively. The sleep aids were wearing off faster than expected. Let me show you her photo evidence, I continued, opening her evidence folder. Pictures of me appeared on screen, me looking exhausted after double shifts, falling asleep in my chair, looking confused when she asked unexpected questions while I was barely awake. Every photo was taken without my knowledge and edited to make me look unstable. This one from March 8th shows me looking angry and threatening. I was actually squinting because she'd turned the living room lights on when I was trying to sleep after working 16 hours straight. Jessica's eyes opened. She blinked slowly, trying to focus. What? She mumbled, then saw the laptop screen. Her face went from confusion to horror as she realized what was happening. The chat exploded. She's awake! Jessica, can you see this? Explain yourself. How do you feel about being exposed? Jessica struggled to sit up, still groggy from the drugs. Dad, what are you doing? Her voice was slurred, confused, exactly how she'd planned to make me appear on her stream. I'm telling the truth, Jessica, something you were planning to avoid tonight. She looked at the viewer count, 240,000, and climbing. Her face went white. Turn it off, she whispered. Please, just turn it off. Like you were going to turn off your lies about me? The chat was merciless. Face the music. Jessica, no escape now. Explain the fake evidence. We saw everything. Jessica tried to stand but stumbled, still affected by the medication. This isn't... You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You drugged your own father for months to create content. You scammed $8,000 from people who thought they were helping. You were about to destroy my life for your career. That's not... I wasn't going to... Jessica's words were still slurred, making her sound exactly like the confused, drugged victim she'd planned to portray me as. The irony wasn't lost on the audience. She sounds exactly like she was going to make him sound. Poetic justice. How does it feel to be drugged, Jessica? I turned back to the camera. Jessica can't think clearly right now because she's under the influence of the same sleep aids she's been putting in my soup for weeks, the same ones she was going to increase tonight to make me appear mentally incompetent. Jessica finally managed to stand, leaning heavily against the couch. You have to stop this. My career. My followers. Your followers deserve to know who they were really supporting. 250,000 viewers. The number was still climbing. I opened her DMs folder. Let me read some messages Jessica sent to brands trying to get sponsorship deals. Dear Fashion Nova, I have 50K highly engaged followers who trust my authentic lifestyle content. My demographic is perfect for your target market. People who believe in genuine struggle and real success stories. The audience was disgusted. She was monetizing our sympathy for brand deals? Authentic lifestyle content? Everything was fake. Jessica grabbed for the laptop. Stop reading those. But she was still unsteady from the drugs and missed. Her attempt to silence the stream only made her look more guilty. Here's another one. Dear HelloFresh, my followers love my content about cooking for my sick father. A partnership with your meal kits would be perfect for my caregiving brand. Caregiving brand? I repeated. She turned our relationship into a brand. Jessica was crying now. Real tears, not the practiced ones from her rehearsal videos. Please, Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean... You didn't mean to get caught. The comments were relentless. Those tears looked different from her practice videos. Now she's sorry. Too late, Jessica. Apologize to everyone you scammed. I pulled up her GoFundMe draft, the one that was supposed to go live after tonight's stream. Goal, $50,000. Help Jessica escape abuse and start over. I read her prepared description. After years of suffering and silence, I finally found the courage to speak out about my father's abuse. Now I need your help to escape and build a new life free from fear. The viewer count hit 275,000. Every dollar would have been stolen. Every share would have spread lies. Every comment of support would have been based on fraud. My phone started ringing. Then Jessica's phone, the apartment phone. News outlets, I realized. The story was breaking beyond social media. Jessica looked at all the ringing phones, at the laptop screen showing nearly 300,000 viewers, at the chat moving too fast to read. Her entire plan had not just failed, it had backfired spectacularly. I want everyone who donated money to Jessica to file complaints with their banks, I said to the camera. Screenshot this stream. Save the evidence I've shown. Report the fraud. Someone was knocking at our apartment door. Hard, official knocking. That's probably the police, I said calmly. Several viewers said they were calling, which is interesting because Jessica was planning to have them called on me tonight. Jessica sank back onto the couch, the reality hitting her. What have you done? I've told the truth, the same truth you were planning to bury under lies for profit. The knocking got louder. Police, open up! I looked at the camera one last time. 300,000 people have now seen the evidence. Jessica's GoFundMe will never go live. Her fake abuse story will never be believed. And everyone who tried to help what they thought was a struggling family now knows exactly where their kindness went. Dad, please, Jessica whispered. The police are here, Jessica, just like in your plan. Except they're here because you drugged someone and committed fraud, not because I'm dangerous. I stood up and walked toward the door. To everyone who donated money believing you were helping, I'm sorry someone took advantage of your kindness. You deserve better than to be manipulated by lies. The viewer count reached 325,000 as I opened the door to let the police in. Justice had gone viral. 3 weeks later, the numbers told the story. Jessica's main Instagram account, suspended. Her TikTok, banned for fraud. Her YouTube channel, demonetized and removed. The livestream had been downloaded and reshared so many times that switching the soup bowls became internet shorthand for exposing a liar with their own trap. The Phoenix Police Department opened case number 2024 PHX 47291 for elder abuse and wire fraud. Detective Mills, who'd responded that night, told me it was the strangest domestic call she'd ever handled, arriving to find 300,000 people watching the evidence collection in real time. GoFundMe froze Jessica's account and returned $8,200 to donors. Venmo flagged her for suspicious activity. The IRS received copies of all her unreported income. The local news picked up the story. Phoenix influencer exposed in elder abuse scam. Father turns tables in viral livestream. Then national outlets. Then international ones. The Great Soup Switch made headlines from New York to London. Jessica moved out the day after the stream. No forwarding address. Her last post, before everything got deleted, was a notes app. Screenshot. The situation has been misunderstood. I'm taking legal action for defamation. That lasted about 6 hours before her lawyer apparently watched the evidence and dropped her case. @SingleMom. Lisa found me on Facebook. Thank you for telling us the truth, she wrote. I have 3 kids, and that $20 was my grocery money, but I'd rather know where it really went than keep living a lie. @Veteran Bob sent a longer message. 40 years in the military taught me to recognize a good soldier when I see one. You fought the right fight, Marcus. I still work at Phoenix General Hospital. Still make $32,000 a year. Still mop floors from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. But now my coworkers know the whole story. Mrs. Chen from next door brings me soup sometimes. Real soup, she jokes. No additives. The apartment feels different now. Quieter, but not empty. Clean, but not sterile. Jessica's ring light is still in her old bedroom, unplugged and gathering dust. Sometimes I think about packing it away, but then I remember truth doesn't need special lighting. My phone buzzes occasionally with interview requests from podcasters, documentarians, people who want to turn the story into something bigger. I decline them all. The truth already found its audience. 325,000 people saw what really happened that night. That's enough witnesses for me. Some stories don't need sequels.